Hey Leo, Ali from Indigo Ascension. I'm going to be doing your final 2 weeks of August. As you can see from the videos on the channel, me, like everyone else, has been taking time for self, okay? It's been an intense couple of weeks. The best way we can process that is by focusing on what lifts us, doing what we love to do, spending time with loved ones, whatever fuels your cup, rather than extending our energies all of the time to the point of exhaustion, okay? So yes, I highly recommend calling in to have your own day to self, taking a break, going away for a weekend. The energy will continue through to the end of August, perhaps for many, as we head into Virgo season and say happy birthday to our beautiful Virgos and say goodbye to Leo birthday season. What have you learned? What have you decided you want to implement for your next solar return? What have you learnt in the final 12 months, of the year 2020? So this is probably lessons that will continue to be integrated. I'm getting a really itchy nose with you guys. What is right under your nose? What are you intuitively missing out on? Let's take a look and see what energies want to cross your path for the final 2 weeks of August, what you might be processing, going through on practical levels. We'll see what comes up. I'll take a look at past, present, future, and we'll have a look at also what crowns and grounds you, and we'll have a look at a healing message, okay? If you haven't already, head on over to the Instagram page where I do the weekly quick reads. That's done each weekend in time for your Monday. And on the channel, obviously, you will see fortnightly and monthly readings for empaths, intuitives, and sensitives. Going by your zodiac signs, underneath this is the beautiful Nine of Coins energy. The Nine of Coins is all about self-sufficiency, self-pride, and knowing that you and you alone have got yourself to here. All right, my lovely Leos, it's maybe since last September, maybe up until this September, you'll be able to really look at seeing how much, like I was really getting like the last 12 months for you, or the 12 months of 2020 was relevant. Like this year was the year you were going to start to kick some goals and address things that, were personal to you. You wanted to be self-sufficient, depending on what your situation and circumstances were last year. This year was about self-sufficiency and getting yourself to a point that you can actually pat yourself on the back. Maybe your birthday season has been able to offer you that, and as you close off August, you will be able to see how far you have come. I'm also going to say there's been, probably some Leos out there that have been really drawn to entrepreneurship and starting their own businesses, or really focusing a lot of their, physical energy, material energy. The coins rule the earth. So anything on the outside, your time, your money, your physical energy, and how you build towards your own ultimate self-sufficiency and goals is what I do want to say. This is pre-Empress energy as well, male or female. Pre-Empress energy, the Empress is all about manifestation. It's all about being able to embody all the skills and tools we have to create the self, to create a transformation, to create a life, to build a career path, whatever the case may be. I see here in the recent past, Leo, you've really connected into the highest essence of who you are. And what fuels you is ultimately this sense of self-satisfaction. When you can pat yourself on the back for a job well done, when you've achieved the goals, that's ultimately what fuels you. But in the recent past too, you've been able to identify what you need in order to increase life force and vitality. So I could certainly be connecting into Leos that if this is not where you're at yet, you know that it's going to fuel you. So whether that means you take on that part-time job, whether you start to put away excess cash or start to provision yourself outside of relying on someone else, is what I'm strongly, like, you're wanting a deeper desire to feel independent and that you created this. So you can apply that in multiple ways, but it ultimately fills you with the life force of who you are. This is you in your highest element. You are ruled by the sun, and the sun, obviously, without it, none of us would be here. Everything would be dark and lifeless, and that applies to your energy field, okay? What do you need to feel like you are full of life, full of enthusiasm, full of vitality, and that the sun is shining on you? Maybe it's this sense of self-satisfaction and achievement and being able to build on the material levels to a point that you know that you can look after self. And it also honors this head-heart pulling that I do feel. Like underneath all this was the Seven of Wands, and there was a need to put down a boundary for many Leos, okay, about what wasn't working, what was I not doing that was getting me to here, what was happening that was ultimately going against my life force, whether that is connections, whether that is thoughts, whether that's the way I was doing things, running my daily routine. Take it however it resonates. There was a strong need under everything for you to put a boundary line down to begin again. Maybe the last 7 weeks have really painted a story of transformation as you edged closer towards your birthday season. You were like, you know what, this time around I'm going to do this differently. This time around I'm going to start this. I feel like there's a 7-week story here for many Leos where you were focused on this self-satisfaction, and that doesn't have to apply just to the material realms. That could be, you know what, this relationship wasn't good for me, I had to walk away. I want to be self-sufficient. I want to be on my own, independent, and not have that influence in my life on some level. So you can apply that in many different ways. Maybe that required you coming to a point where you had to detach from your emotions, your emotional connection to a circumstance, to a reality, to a job, to a connection, take it however it resonates, where you had to really act on your higher logic. And from a mind mastery level, okay, so that when the King and Queen of Swords shows up, they're not confused, they're not prisoners of their minds, they do not overthink, they ultimately know how they will act and where to draw the line in the sand. And you literally embodied that because you were able to connect into some deeper values here. You were able to connect into some deeper drives and goals that you want moving forward. Like, I'm feeling this long story from the last 12 months into the next 12 months, how you were going to approach this birthday, this year, this time around is what I want to say. And if connections or if your experience of love or friendships or whatever the case may be, or your experience with how you connect to your career, your job, take it however it resonates. If it wasn't doing this and making you feel like, see that little child on the back of a horse? If life or anything within your life wasn't making you feel like this, it was like, boom, boom, I'm cutting it away. And I'm not going to say it in a bad way. Like, I really feel I'm connecting into Leos that have come from an empowered sense of self. Maybe you haven't even had a conversation. Sometimes to me, when I see the King of Swords, he doesn't need. You just know from his presence that I can't pull the wool over his eyes, you know. Maybe it was from professional advice that you decided to draw a line in the sand. And this could apply to anything, okay? This could, you know, you could apply it to the realms of love. You can apply it to the realms of business, family connections, whatever the case may be. You knew, Leo, where you had to draw a line on the sand. And I feel like this could very well have been the last 7 weeks, the next 7 weeks, to show you the fruits of your labor, that you're genuinely feeling a change. So I do want to remind you, if you're going to be looking back, I don't feel there's any look back energy, but see how far you have come in relation to this thing, this connection, this desire, this dream. You're on your way is what I do want to say. And I'm picking up strongly on Leos that perhaps, like, this feels financial to me in the sense that you're making a start, okay? And if this Four of Coins is not quite the Ten of Coins in where you want to be when it comes to business, self-sufficiency, your finances, whatever the case may be, trust in the process that, you know, you have made a start. Like, this time last year, this time last month, you were not where you are today, okay, when you watch this video. So congratulate yourself on how far you have come and remember the overall goal. And in remembering the overall goal, it will keep us, like, strong in knowing when it comes to what boundaries need to be maintained, honored and respected. It also maintains our strong essence of what we're thinking about the whole thing, you know, of our thoughts, our perceptions. It keeps us strong in our boundaries and a healthy perception of the processes we're going through. So it ultimately balances head and heart. We're not overwhelmed by one or the other. You literally might be making head and heart decisions, okay? Or maybe you had to make a head and heart decision about what fuels you, who fuels you, what connections in your life bring you life force, what ones need healthy boundaries or had to be put down, what boundaries had to be put down in order to create this sense of equilibrium. How did you have to disconnect from your emotions in order to be able to honor that? It's only early days, I'm feeling, excuse me, for many Leos, but you've made a start, okay? And that you can apply that to the dynamics within a connection. You can apply that to the dynamics within your relationship to your career or this new path you're wanting to make. You have made a start. Okay, and it was literally about intuitively connecting into what was emotionally right for you and defining what victory means, and you were ready to make a new beginning regardless. Okay, is what I do want to say. I do want to just sort of clarify a couple of the energies that I'm picking up on here, Leo. This could certainly be around your self-sufficiency, your role as a mother, the motherly role you have played is what I do want to say. But self-sufficiency, you know, the Queen of Pentacles to me looks so much like this card, the Nine of Coins, you know, and it's pre-Empress, okay? So her goal set, okay, male or female, her goal set is to be the Empress, okay? The Queen of Pentacles is but one aspect of the Empress, okay? So this is about you mastering the provisions in your life, being able to provide for self, being able to get to a station in life where you are happy with where you financially sit, you're happy with where you physically sit, being able to physically provide. Maybe you had to put an end to how much you physically provided for others is what I do want to say. You know, and going out on your own will actually be, or disconnecting or putting these boundary lines down will actually create a stronger sense of security for self is what I do want to say. This could certainly be because you were dealing with manipulation, but also because you're trying to create a path for self. Okay, so if these boundary lines were in relation to what no longer what was no longer working, what was no longer contributing to the greater goal, this was about you deeply desiring to bring about or create a whole new experience. When it comes to this dynamic, when it comes to your dynamics that you're experiencing within how you feel about your path, your purpose, who you are, and how you provide for self. Like there's this next evolution in your cycle is what I'm feeling, this next level up. And it's certainly going, and it has to make your heart sing. Like I feel like this feels strongly like the Libra reading as well. But you had to put definitions around connections. You had to put definitions around what you will no longer put up with and what you will resonate and how you want to feel about your career, your path, your purpose, okay, and feeling like you're coming from the heart, and that has to make your heart sing. So too do relationships. You are no longer going to be the provider, no longer going to allow behaviors that took advantage of your practical provisions too, is what I do want to say. You bring a lot to the table, Leo, and if that applies to career, maybe you weren't being duly, maybe you were not being compensated for the value that you brought to a table, okay, and so you're seeking a way in which to find that elsewhere. You've had to make a head and heart decision over loyalty, commitment, the time I've been here, whatever the case may be. Remove your emotions, and in removing your emotions from the table, you were able to put some boundary lines down about where to from here. So like I said, you could apply it to anything, relationships, your career path, next steps. Where you're heading is, you know, emotional fulfillment in the choices you're making, and that's what you were deeply desiring. You wanted a career, you wanted to feel confident again, you wanted a connection that ultimately honors who you are, so that, because that old situation, the way things were, it was really dipping at your confidence in yourself. It was really dipping at your life force. It was really dipping at your sense of feeling passionate and purposeful with the decisions you're making in life and in career and whatever the case may be. Like, it was really affecting your level of self-confidence is what I do want to say. If you're processing this in the final 2 weeks of August, keep going, because it's going to take you to this elevated level. By saying goodbye, by creating an ending, by choosing to manifest something more, something bigger, a wholesome experience of life, love, connections, your relationship to your career path, whatever the case may be, your self-sufficiency and entrepreneurship and creating a business. Really follow that calling, because it's taking you to a place where it's going to tick all the boxes. You're going to be feeling confident again. You're going to be feeling sure of yourself. You're going to be just feeling like this, is what I do want to say. Let's take a look at the healing message, my love. Hopefully it wraps things up for you, my lovely Leos. What a birthday season. Yeah, like I said, maybe you know a Libra. It feels similar to the Libra reading. A couple of cards there. Unconditional love. Get clear. Negativity and give back. That literally wraps up everything we've just talked about. The ultimate goal was unconditional love, okay? Maybe, you know, take it however it resonates. Numbers 4 and 2 are about creating new foundations. New foundations and equal reciprocity. As empaths, we continually sometimes find ourselves in an over-giving stance. Okay, Leo, maybe that story is relevant to you. Maybe you were seeking to give back and never sort of experience that harmony, which is the number 6. It's the number of harmony. Something had to be brought into balance here. And when you said no, when you put a boundary line down, I'm going to say watch how much success and advancement you experience in your life is what I do want to say, because you've been able to get clear about the negativity in your life. You've been able to get clear about what had to be cleared because it was holding you back. Okay? A lot of messages here for you, lovey. A lot of messages, but you watch how life will now give back to you because you've made some decisions. You've made some choices to put a boundary line down, to seek something more fulfilling. Okay? All right, my love, hope you got something out of that. That was your final 2 weeks of August. It looks good all the way through. I'm even going to say this is something that you might even be working on until June, July next year. Okay, because the Lovers card is ruled by Gemini. And that crowns your reading. So as far as a time frame, it's something that's slowly building, transforming, changing, and reaping results all the way through till between now and next June is a prominent time frame to watch this growth, progress, transform, and ultimately transform you. All right, Leo, that was your, I was going to say that was your quick read. It wasn't. That was your reading for the final 2 weeks of August. But go ahead and check out Instagram for the quick reads. Your quick read for this coming week, August the 24th, is already up. Until September, I hope you have a beautiful final 2 weeks of August. Until next time.